I remember when I was going to do my very first Stump the Pro-Lifer event at the University of Michigan. Now I know the University of Michigan is a wholesome, life-affirming place that's very tolerant of pro-life beliefs, but I was still a little scared. I was nervous that I would get there and someone would ask me a question that I didn't really know how to answer, that these smart students had something up their sleeve that was going to make me look really foolish. And I think we've all been in situations like that. We're talking about abortion with someone that might have just completed their first philosophy class or something, and we're afraid that they're going to ask us something that we don't know how to answer. When we find ourselves in situations like that, what we have to remember is that all pro-choice arguments have one general flaw. They make an assumption in their argument without proving it. It's our job to draw that assumption out and combat that. The assumption that they make without justifying it is that the unborn are not human beings like the rest of us. Fortunately for us, there's a simple way we can draw that assumption out and expose it as the fallacy that it is. First, we have to take that argument that they offer and ask ourselves this question: would that argument justify killing a toddler? If the answer is no, then they've made the assumption that the unborn are not humans like a toddler is. Here's how this would play out when you're talking to a pro-choice advocate. They might say something like, I believe abortion should be legal because children will often grow up in extreme poverty and abortion can save a child from such a difficult life. Your response simply has to be, imagine that I had a 3-year-old little boy right here in front of us. This little boy is growing up in extreme poverty. Their family is struggling to get by just day to day. Would I be justified in an effort to save this child from that difficult life in taking his life? The person would respond, hopefully, of course not, you can't do that. And you would ask this really important question. Why not? Why can I not take the life of that child to save him from extreme poverty? Eventually the person would say something like, you can't kill a person or you can't kill a human for that reason. And there's the key. You can't kill a human being to save them from a life of extreme poverty. But that same person would argue that you can kill an unborn child to save them from a life of extreme poverty. What's the assumption being made? The assumption is that the unborn are not human beings and the toddler is. But there's no scientific or philosophical backing for that argument in the statement that abortion should be legal due to extreme poverty. Now, the next step for you will be to do 2 things. First, you have to prove scientifically that the unborn truly are whole, living, and distinct human beings just like the rest of us. This will be a pretty easy task as soon as you do some research because embryology is wholly on our side. Second, you're going to have to prove that there's no morally significant difference between the unborn child and a toddler or you and I. This is where a handy acronym called SLED, or size, level of development, environment, and degree of dependency comes in. Because ultimately, those are the differences between us and the unborn. And nothing is morally significant in any one of those. Therefore, the unborn are whole, living, and distinct human beings, just like all of us, and deserve the same protections as any of us. To learn more about how this argument goes, or how you can argue persuasively for the pro-life view, check out protectlifemi.org and book one of our speakers today. Thanks.